Well, good evening, folks. It's another episode of Skipping Lunch After Dark. So skipping dinner. I don't know. I just have to keep the title of the show the same. But I am really happy tonight because I have somebody here that I met at PAX Unplugged this past year, who was introduced to me via Paladin's Pros. So thank you very much, Paladin's Pros. For inviting me over to the Cool Kids table. But I am here with Jean-Luc, the Dungeon's Key. Jean-Luc, say hello to everybody tonight.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Wes, for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a lot of fun. So when we talked at PAX Unplugged, we were having a nice chat, but you had told me about a game that you were working on, which I have a preprint copy here.
Yes.
And I think you said you had yours. So this is
I've got,
Dirt Bags.
matching
preprint copies. Now, you did give me a copy. I am also a backer of the Kickstarter. So this is not like giving free stuff.
I'm flattered. That's very kind of you, Wes.
I mean, I'm a small content creator and not actually making games, but I know every little bit helps. And it just sounded like a really cool game. Can you give people like the 2-minute spiel for what Dirtbags is, other than having a really wild name?
Sure, yeah. So Dirtbags is essentially a sort of, it's a cinematic, sci-fi shooter RPG.
Okay.
Essentially, that means that we are and the theme of the game is essentially that the world is set in a kind of a dystopian corporate-run world where there's a lot of commentary on for instance like private prisons and the corporate echelon, and so players are actually taking on the role of dirtbags who are convicts. Who are essentially being churned through this machine, this corporate machine, fed into the military foundation's rehabilitation incentive program, which is short for, or is RIP. It's short for RIP.
R.I.P. Yes. Very good.
Yeah.
So the problem with the game is that it's too real.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't at the time I started working on it a few years ago. It sort of has kind of gone full circle.
It is a little strange. I was reading through it. It's like, R.I.P. You're convicts out and thrown into prison to reduce sentence to get out. I'm like, holy crap! We're playing Wagner. This is bizarre. But I mean, it's a really interesting game, and of course, playing some of those dystopian things and highlighting it is actually really kind of wild.
Yeah, it is supposed to be satirical, which is why we leaned into Dirtbags,
Yeah.
right? It's supposed to be on the along the lines of more of a cyberpunk is sort of kind of style, where players never really side with, the kind of the corporate echelon.
Right.
So although the game is inspired by, movies like and the book, but Starship Troopers, and Colonial Marines and all of that, we're never really supposed to take on the role of the bad guys, kind of like they do with Starship Troopers, right? Like where
Okay.
so it's satirical in that sense, right?
Gotcha.
Sardonic, and so yeah, you're supposed to always want to resist or escape or fight the corporate entity, without ever really being able to.
It like I said, it's a fascinating setup. Really cool character design, and very cool mechanics. So first off, characters are very, very. I mean, rules light is a thing that gets thrown out, but these are very bare bones characters. What attributes do the characters have in this game?
Awesome. Yeah. So there are three ability scores in the game. You have bones, cunning, and nerves. So just the three. Your bones is going to be used for your kind of physical exertion,
Mm-hmm.
running, evasion. Cunning will be used for anything from technology to weapons handling.
Uh-huh.
Ingenuity, and finally, you would use nerves for things like perception, first aid, consuming energizers, which are essentially like stim packs or drugs
Okay.
that the corporate that the corporate entity sort of feeds dirtbags to kind of keep them going during the fight.
And how do these ability scores work?
So ability scores are actually limits. So you have a current and maximum. And the way that they work is that they kind of represent the number of actions of that kind you can take on your turn.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example, right? So if you're trying to say run across the hallway, dive behind cover, and throw a grenade.
Gotcha.
Let's talk about those three actions, right? So running across the hallway, I would associate with bones. Diving behind cover, right? Evasion, another bones action,
Yep.
and then throwing a grenade, that's weapons handling, right? So that's cunning.
Okay.
So so the idea here is that you would need a minimum of 2 bones and 1 cunning to perform those actions.
Okay.
Now, you generally will not have an ability score that is less than 1, as far as your maximums are concerned.
Gotcha. Okay.
That would be terrible. But your current ability score could drop down to 0. Because in the game, you're expected to use your ability scores to replenish your action pool and do all sorts of cool things and take actions.
That's so. I mean, it's kind of an interesting concept. So, if your cunning drops to 0, you're still in the game. You can do other actions, but you literally cannot do any type of attack action anymore.
Precisely, yeah. So,
Okay.
and that's true of bones and nerves. So it's called fatigue.
Okay.
Or being fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
When an ability score drops down to 0, you simply just can no longer make use of that ability score anymore, but you could still take actions. So, for instance, if your cunning is down to 0, but your nerves stay still sitting at 1 or 2, then you could maybe no longer fight, say using a firearm, but you might be able to say defend yourself using your wit, right?
Okay. Okay.
To using nerves to convince someone to leave you be,
Mm-hmm.
or to or that you're stronger than you are. Right. So there's lots of opportunities for sort of narrative play as far as ability scores are concerned.
And it is cool when the attribute scores are showing your attrition, and some,
Mhm.
even with games like a year 0 engine, when one of your attribute pools goes down to 0, you're usually basically out.
Yeah.
But in this, you still have those other pools to draw from, which is really cool. How do you get your actions back after a turn? Do they just
Right.
automatically
So
reset?
yeah. So there's this idea of taking a breather, and I'll preface that by saying that Dirtbags is a game that uses like D6 pools,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've got sort of 2 D6 pools. You've got an action pool, and you have an ammunition pool. So we're talking about action pools now, and so the size of your action pool is equal to the sum of your ability scores.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we start. I'm sorry, I might be forgetting your question.
How
You
do
were
you
just asking
recover after you
how
finish
do you,
it?
that's right. How do you replenish them? So the idea is you would take a breather, right,
Okay.
outside of combat. But taking a breather does a number of things. Taking a breather allows you to replenish action die into your pool, because as you take actions, eventually your pool decreases in size. And then as part of taking a breather outside of combat, you can also restore an ability score by 1 for
Okay.
each out of combat breather.
Gotcha. It's such a very fast. It feels like a very fast moving game. Even just kind of reading the preprint book that you put out is really really cool. Um,
Yeah, in playtesting, it's been incredibly fast. Like even while I was running it at PAX and Gen Con, we were able to get through I would say maybe 6 to 7 entire bouts of combat in a period of 3 hours. Just so
nice.
significantly faster than say something like your traditional 5e or kind of really crunchy Pathfinder or
Yeah.
something like
Where it's every like one combat will take 3 hours. Like that doesn't.
4 hours. Yeah.
That does not sound like a good time to me. I just want to go explore something. I
It
want to go.
can for some, but
I,
not for me.
I mean, listen. If people, I won't even say if. There are people who do enjoy that, and that is part of the hobby. And I
100%.
will not, you know, you know, vomit over their fun. It just doesn't sound fun for me. Which is fine. That's just not how I'm wired. I want click, click, click. I want to go.
I think
Um,
we're the same way that way.
and it's not a class based game, correct?
There are roles in the game, right? Or archetypes, if you will.
Okay.
But as far as like class abilities and limitations and stuff like that, like yes and no. Like so, you have traits,
Okay.
for each of the roles,
Okay.
um, and the roles are ape, hen, musclehead. You've got there's 5 roles in total. I'm trying to think of the other, tech and pill, right? And these correspond essentially to like your infanteer class,
Okay.
your medic, your combat engineer, your support gunner, and so you'll have traits. But over time, through character progression, you can actually gain traits from other roles as well. So you can kind of mix and match and kind of you can always multi-class if you want to call it that at any
Okay.
time in the game. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix my link because I can't. There's
You're
people who are
good.
watching. Like, why aren't people talking? And my thing is not working from my browser dock. So I'm like, why is this not working? So I'm trying it again. Uh, so real quick, and I like your names of it, like hen. I thought that was kind of like, where
Yeah.
did you come up with those?
Well, a big part of Dirtbags is that the book itself is supposed to look diegetic,
Okay.
and so and it's supposed to look like a corporate military pamphlet, or
Okay.
enlistment document, but in the sort of the style of Dirtbags and kind of f the corporate machine, it's actually getting a ton of defacing, right? Which you can see in the Kickstarter.
Uh
Like
huh.
it's kind of ball pen blue, just defacing. And I want to, I was trying to think of what would the Dirtbags call themselves, right? Like yes, like my role is infantier, right? My role is reconnaissance. My role is support gunner. But what would the Dirtbags call themselves
Okay.
when they are sort of assigned to these positions? So obviously, Ape, is kind of inspired a little by Starship Troopers, and then the others just kind of came kind of that way. In fact, the working title for Dirtbags was Requiem for about
Oh.
a year and a half, and one of the roles was called Dirtbag. The support gunner was called Dirtbag for the longest time, and
Oh,
that's where the
cool.
inspiration for the game Dirtbags actually came from.
Gotcha. Oh, I like that very much. So I can't get the chat highlight working, and I do not know why it was working before. I got a couple of questions.
Sure.
King Eric, the greatest of all, wants to know if there's a cleanliness skill option. That's just that's a King Eric question. He always has at least one in every
Sorry,
game.
I may have missed that. What was the
He
question?
wants to know because it's dirtbags. He wants to know if there's a cleanliness skill.
If there's a cleanliness
Yes.
skill, no. It's one of those things where the filth can never be removed. It is there's no amount of cleaning will remove the will take the dirt bag out of you, basically.
That's just awesome. Um, Square peg, because to be fair, Wagner no longer exists. It was rolled into the restaurant mallet. Yes, it was. Um, and BGD says, hello, Wes and John Luke. I spoke to our mutual friend Tanner Paladin Pros about us today. Oh, people are talking about us. That's really nice. I
That's
wish I could do
awesome.
the chat pop up, folks. I'm so sorry. I will try to keep my eye on it for you. All right.
That's all right. No, I've got it on my screen as well. Also, I'll try to kind of go back and forth so we're not too. At the very least, we can keep track of what folks are saying.
Yep. Oh, feature trap. Here it goes. This is session. Feature. That's it. Hold on. That's what's wrong. I think.
You got it.
I don't know. We're gonna find out. All right. While I am, muttering under my breath at this thing, what gosh, you're in the middle of your Kickstarter, correct?
Yes.
So what
Yeah,
was your
that's right.
goal? And I really should not be doing this while I'm live, but
No, you're fine. You're talking about funding goal, right?
Yes.
Because
What was
I
your
thought
funding goal?
funding goal was around 2,500.
Okay.
And I think we've smashed that. We're at like something like 215 or 220% funding. It's been incredible. Like the outpouring of the community, and even folks like US and Tanner from Paladin Pros, and just so many folks have been so supportive. It's really overwhelming.
Yeah,
Just to kind of
and we're actually using the tool that HexPress told us how to use.
recommend. Yeah, exactly.
Which is a lot of fun. So yeah, this is really a cool thing. And I did put a link to the description or to the Kickstarter below. How much more time do people have to be able to use this?
Quite a bit of time, honestly. I mean, I think we got another. I want to say 23 days, give or take.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, 22 days, I think, today.
That's awesome. I'm very happy that people are able to.
No, I lied. It's 21 days.
That's okay. Oh, look, I got my chat working. I think I got the working now. I just got to put the thing up. Yay. Why it wasn't working before, I don't know. This is always the fun part about doing a live,
I mean, when it's live, yeah, 100%.
Oh my gosh. Chat name. Do I have it? No. I don't know what's going on. Hold on, I'm gonna edit this. All right, and what are we working on tonight? As I'm now muttering curses under my breath at my.
Well, what I'm hoping we're going to be working on is a crowdsourced one shot. So collectively, US, we've got Tanner from Paladin Pros and Todd from HexPress are going to be crowdsourcing a one shot. With your audience and theirs, and collectively we're going to put our heads together and just start kind of throwing words at the wall and see what sticks, and then take it from there. Really,
I am actually really excited about this. This is going to be a lot.
Yeah,
of fun.
Me too. So for the record, this is the first time I've ever collaborated on a one shot like this. I mean, I know Tanner does a number of streams like this, and I've like thrown things at him. So I've got an idea of how this should work. But I mean, really, we might get a lot done. We might get nothing done, and I think that's okay.
Yes, we might get nothing done, and I've warned I'm not doing any typing because I'm trying to do all the other stuff, and I'm
100%.
obviously distracted because I'm trying to get this doc to work. Just so folks can have some fun. But I'm going to bring over our whiteboard really quick, and I will try to keep our ugly heads away from our cool stuff. Now we are on a Discord. It is me and Paladin Pros, Tanner, and HexPress, Todd. And you, and we have been putting together a theme for a Dirtbags one shot. Do we have the notes for what we have come up with?
I did take some notes, but for some reason, this is going to sound ridiculous. I might have to. Speaking of technical issues, I'm trying to type some of those notes, and instead of actually typing, it is moving my window around.
I'm watching it. It's fun.
So Oh gosh, this is ridiculous. Um, okay, well,
I love everything
uh,
about this, by the way.
this
It's
is
so much fun.
so ridiculous. Look, I can type. No, you know what? Forget it. I will open up my laptop and we'll take it from there. Technical difficulties as
We're
always.
having like
You,
I'm funny.
you can
This
tell we're
is
doing this
it's
live, right?
riveting entertainment. It's actually and next week I'm doing Chaosium, so I better get all this stuff set up.
Okay,
Um,
I'm gonna try to log. I'm logging on my laptop, so I can tell you I do have our notes. So at a really high level, and again we tried as much as possible. I think not to not to just to come up with too much out of the gate because we
uh-huh.
really wanted to do this collaboratively.
Right.
I'm going to try to exit here. So we said that you came up with this idea. What about a security team for a group of archaeologists who have gone missing via mysterious circumstances? Right.
Yep.
We talked about what those mysterious circumstances could be. They don't necessarily have to have gone missing, but we kind of were floating around that idea. I mentioned that we maybe there was some way to introduce psionics into the game as part of those mysterious circumstances.
Uh-huh.
We ultimately settled, I think, so the dirtbags are descending into like some sort of ancient monument, perhaps. So
Mm-hmm.
we're doing a dungeon. We're not doing a point crawl. So maybe this ancient monument was uncovered by archaeologists,
Okay.
or maybe like yeah, like corpo scientists, like something like that. And that perhaps this monument is protected by, an ancient culture, or is, yeah. So, and then what else did we say? We said
Did we say they
that,
were going to
yeah,
be the pre-team? Like they had to go in and clear it out?
something like that. Yeah. I mean, I don't, if we didn't say it, I think we could absolutely just, establish that.
Yeah, I
There we
like
go.
that
So,
idea. So, and our part of the time it was kind of like a silence in the library type thing, if you remember that Doctor
yes,
Who
exactly.
episode.
Exactly.
And I got the chat.
So,
I got the chat highlight going on because
oh,
Annabelle
let's
found said
go.
he's from he's Franco-Ontarian from Ontario, Canada. Because someone asked where you were from, Jean Luc.
Oh, excellent.
I'll
Thank
bring
you.
that down. So hopefully that's now continuing to work. And yeah, so let's talk about that. So it's an ancient culture. What type of environment are we looking for here?
That's a great question. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the chat who wants to recommend,
Ooh, yeah, chat folks, where are you?
yeah. What do you guys think?
Tell me who
Um,
people
yeah,
should.
it could be desert. Maybe if we're talking like an ancient monument, it could be a jungle or some sort of wasteland. Maybe
Yep.
we've landed on an old. Well, I don't want to say too much here. Let's see what our what the folks are saying in the chat.
And let's ask him one other question. So, folks, other than what environment we're going into, what is this ancient culture known for? Like, why are they sending in a bunch of recovered or reformed convicts to go and clear the place out? Oh, King Eric, the greatest of all,
Oh,
says
underwater.
underwater, and then BGD says swamp. Can we combine those two?
I absolutely think we could have elements of this dungeon be underwater, and it could absolutely be in a swamp. Are we good?
What just
Oh
happened?
no.
That was very strange. I went to another thing. Anyway, go ahead. So yes, go right ahead. We're doing good. So I like underwater swamp type thing.
Okay.
Or teenage wasteland. No, we're not doing teenage wasteland. Shh. Worshipping. You want to do? You're gonna. King Eric, the greatest of all, wants to go all the way back to Blackmore and do worshipping frog gods.
I love that. Doesn't have to be frogs, but
Well,
worshiping something.
it's that's so the classic in like old Blackmore is that the Temple of the Frog God is actually extraterrestrial people who like crash down into the planet. So it would make sense if they're worshiping a frog god. Maybe they were in far future Blackmore. I don't know. It'd be kind of fun. We do like people who like underwater with some poisonous thermal creatures who could be fun or would be fun. That would be good. I like the idea of underwater and swamp.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. And then worshiping, and then culture. The culture was known to worship frog gods and was maybe xenophobic.
Oh no. I think there's enough of that in real life. I
Yeah,
don't think
okay,
we
let's
need.
not go there. Oh,
Ancient
here's
culture is renowned for its powerful
BGD's
healing
got
magic.
BGD's got it. Ancient, yeah, renowned for its powerful healing magic based on rare swamp flora, but they also practice blood sacrifice. Oh, let's do that.
I love that.
That
Blood.
sounds charming.
And honest, I think that there's an opportunity to bring in perhaps a something that we worked on Monday. So I have Monster Mondays that I've been launching,
Hmm.
and we got together with a bunch of folks, and we were coming up with monsters, and the last thing we ended up creating was a disease. A
Ooh.
parasitical disease. I mean, if it's blood sacrifices, maybe we could introduce bloodletting. Maybe there's this. Maybe the corpos are actually after like this parasite or disease, like think of it as like maybe it was like a biological and a biologically engineered virus or
Mm.
pathogen that was kept there by this ancient culture, something along those lines. I'm not sure
And they
if
need
that
it.
resonates with you at all.
They need that disease to actually grow the healing fauna or flora.
Healing magic based on rare swamp flora.
Flora. So they need the parasitical disease to make that rare flora. Otherwise, it doesn't have a healing properties. It just tastes bad. So I kind of like that. You guys have great ideas in chat. Well done.
Yeah.
I'm really excited by this. Also terrified, which is nice. All right, so we're going in. What is something that we don't that the dirtbags do not know?
Oh, I love that.
We'll go to chat again. Like, I mean, are they not there to clear out? Maybe they're there to get infected. We're gonna go full aliens on them. Um, Something like that. What does chat think? Because you're knocking it out of the park already.
Oh
Again,
God.
Eric, too real. Too real. Also, dumbest trade dispute on the history of the planet, and we got nothing.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest. Hey, we're gonna do all these things we were already doing. Great, we won. I have no idea what that was about. That was the most bizarre thing ever. Anyway, stop being too real. Bad King Eric.
It could be some sort of clock or something like that.
Oh,
That there's a timer, like maybe depending on how many hours they spend, within the monument. Maybe they'll catch this disease or something like that.
oh, I
Um,
like that. Yes, 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 yes. Because that will actually incentivize them not to take breathers.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, I kind of like
Um,
that.
I'm trying to think if I have the. Let me see if I can pull it over. Um, yeah, I can because we use the same app. I should be able to just. Whoop, hey,
There
look
you
at
go.
that.
Parasite disease. Wee. Look at that. Oh,
So
and
this
I
thing
got
is
it.
awful.
Let
So
me.
there's a,
I'm gonna drag down so it actually shows up on screen now.
sure, yeah.
There we go. Parasite disease, ancient culture. Yay! So much fun. So special parasite infects player. The only way to get rid of it is to EN crash, overdose. Okay, and survive. Dang.
Oh yeah, it's a terrible disease, like or parasite.
Hooked
Um,
tentacles. Oh yeah, that sounds great.
oh yeah, no, that's the I think that's leftover from a monster we were working on. This does not
Dorsal
have hook
glands.
tentacles or
Yeah.
dorsal glands or a speed or a defense.
How would a defense? How would a virus or a parasite work in this game? Does it have a virility score? that you have to roll
Uh,
against, or is it
No,
automatic
no, nothing
infection?
like that. No, I mean, generally speaking, as far as like resisting, external or internal effects, all you really require is to roll nerves, and you need
Oh, okay.
to score at least one success. And now, when you're resisting an effect, you can roll up to your nerves ability score,
So,
or
and
well, you can roll
here's the
up
other
to
question:
like
how? What's the target number for success?
it's okay. So it's you're rolling d6s,
Yes.
and it's always gonna be 4 to 6.
Okay.
Now, unless you have advantage or disadvantage, that range could actually grow
Okay. Cool.
or be reduced.
Very good. But you have to have at least one point in your current nerve score in order to
Correct.
actually
Yeah,
resist.
because otherwise you could take that action.
Okay, so I mean, if we want to be devious, do we include traps in this monument that are designed to like whittle down people's nerves to
Okay.
make them
Yeah,
more susceptible to infection?
that's horrible. That is evil. I love it.
But maybe
I think
that's what the
absolutely
function of the monument was. It was actually to send folks
sure.
in to get infected with this thing. And hello, Justin Ridgway. How are you?
Hi, Justin. Thanks for
Hey
joining us.
yo.
These all look like they're regulars of your channel,
Yes, I
Wes.
got
This is
King Eric
exciting.
is a regular. Justin's one of my Dragonbane players and in my Numenera group. BGD is here, is always around. Yes. I think Annabelle Fan is one of your fans though.
Yeah, that's right. She may or may not be sitting right
Sitting
here.
right behind you.
That's
Turn around and wave. Come on, say hello. Now, hey guys. Actually, I'd love to see just a hand reach out from the back and just wave. Um, so yeah, I like that idea. So, what kind of traps could we set in that would be designed to like shake people's nerves and put them on edge?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. Um, hmm. I mean, it could be things like poison gas. Like I'm still trying to wrap my head around like what this monument really is. I think we had some ideas around the swamp being there with some. What was that? Let me see if I can go back to that comment there. Was it by King Eric or BGD? Um,
Who talked about what?
about
Actually, I
so they
can't
talk
sort of.
about the culture. So
Yes.
yeah, so it's they're renowned for its healing magic on rare swamp flora,
Uh huh.
but they also practice blood sacrifices. So the monument that we're heading into, what purpose does it serve? That's kind of
Well,
that's
that's
what
what I
I
was
want to
thinking.
know.
Is like maybe they sent the people in as the sacrifices, and the whole place is designed to like whittle down the
Oh, the whole
resistance.
thing! Oh my God, are you? Are we? We're not creating a tomb of horror, are we?
I maybe I don't
Oh, it's
know.
just
I
the
mean,
whole
you're
thing
the one
is.
that created the crazy dirtbag shooter. It's not my fault. I'm just working within the parameters of how the game is designed. So
Sure, sure.
it's got nothing to do with
Um,
my bizarre sense of want to kill the characters.
uh, I love
So
that. Will okay, so let's add that. So what is this monument? So the monument serves, yeah, so let's say what is the monument? It lures, it's kind of like it designed to for human sacrifice, essentially for
it's to
humanoid.
prepare people for their sacrifice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, I like that better actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, to prepare them for their.
So the whole thing is designed to get them infected with whatever this parasite is.
Right.
So and King Eric pointed out it's the Thunderdome, two go in, one comes out.
Yeah, that's right. It almost makes me feel like will I mean I imagine though that we encounter this culture,
I
or is
like
it
the idea the culture's dead and gone.
okay?
To me,
Okay.
that just makes sense.
Yeah. Um,
Let's
make a note
ask.
of that.
What's like chat? What do you think? Is the
Are
is the
they stick
culture
are they
still
still
around,
around? Or yeah, exactly.
or are they more like the engineers and they're kind of not around? Who knows? Oh, BGD wants to
It
point
could
out
be that
that
some of their like some of their like their creations are left like kind of their some
I
like maybe
like
there
that
are
idea.
abominations, or maybe like some of the traps might be like um like like poisonous
Uh-huh.
fauna,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or venomous fauna, like, or corrupted fauna.
Yeah, I just
If
think
we're
like
talking
this
about like
entire
weird magic.
environment is set up to them to be deadly so that they could get this sacrifice done. Like they're just they were bizarre that way. BGD pointed out they wanted the main antechamber when you go in is into the monument is a creepy ossuary.
Hell yeah.
I kind of like that too. There's just a big box of bones.
Hell yeah.
That would be really really
Let's
cool.
we can even, I think we could probably even start, let's just start making the dungeon, right? Like that's the,
Sure,
can we do that? How do I
sure.
create a text box? I can just drag that here, right? Yeah, so I'll start creating a text. I'll start creating
Where'd you
this.
drag the text box?
It's all the way at the bottom here, and I'm gonna just
There
put
we
that
go.
here, and
I've
we'll
just got to
just
slide
call
it on the
this
screen
the,
here.
yeah, there we go.
So
So
main room ossuary. Yeah, can we? Are there join combiners like you can join things with
I think
lanes?
so.
Okay,
In fact, oh, I think you can, but you've got to like draw them. I
okay,
don't think they're like it's not
gotcha.
like a, yeah. So let's go back to the text. Nope, don't want to do that.
Yay!
I'm useless with this thing. Okay.
The
Ossuary, you
joys
said,
of
right?
using new software. And
Seriously.
and
Let's
half the time I was screaming at the chat for the first 20 minutes of it.
and I wish I was looking at the webcam bit.
I
It's
know.
like I'm
Yeah, we're
looking
looking
at
down like this. It's great that
laptop.
we're
I'm
on
just like, I'm
screen.
always just like, yeah, I know, right? So we said ossuary. What other kinds of rooms here? And in the meantime, I want to ask the audience, like, what is the connection between the parasitical disease and the sacrificing that they are doing?
That's a good question.
And yeah, like how do those two
King
things
Eric
tie
wants to
together?
point out that when people go in, they have to pay a 25% tariff. I just
Frog
can't.
bones.
Eric, stop. Um. Oh my gosh, I like the frog bones. Um, the frog bones are really kind of cool. So,
Heck
uh,
yeah.
yeah. What was the yeah? It's an interesting
Yeah,
question.
so
What was
I
the
was just
point?
wondering, like, so we've got this parasitical disease. Like, what's the purpose of their sacrifice, or of their sacrifices, and how does it relate
Well,
to the
I
disease?
think Annabelle actually pointed out it's like the blood sacrifice is linked to growing the flora that creates the healing magic. So we got it. The
Okay.
parasite somehow transforms their blood so that it grows the stuff that makes the healing magic work.
Oh wow, that's super intense. So, really,
Yeah, as one does.
yeah, and this is, by the way, this is going to be, we'll have to spend a bit of time after after we go off air to organize these notes, because this is getting hectic. So I'm just gonna make a note here and say, so the can you say that again in words that,
All right.
that I can,
So
yeah.
you've got
So
you have the, and I think this was Annabelle's idea. So I'm not taking
yeah,
credit for it. Her idea. So you had they practiced blood sacrifice. You came up with parasite. So the
yeah,
parasite and the black blood sacrifice are linked. Something about people being infected with this parasite makes their blood capable of growing the flora, which activates the healing magic.
understood. So it's almost like a symbiote, like symbiosis,
Almost, yeah.
yeah.
A,
So
a
when they're
creepy,
infected,
deranged,
yeah,
violent symbiosis. But yes,
yeah. So
symbiosis, yes.
yeah, it produces the chemicals necessary for the flora to produce, um, healing. Is it magic, or is it, or like just healing
Well, I
compound?
mean, I think the history is that it's magic. Like that's the lore that came down. But I would assume that the people in charge of the corporations are just assuming it's a chemical compound.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like that. And so
Annabelle takes no
maybe like
credit. She can't remember if it was my idea. It was. It was your idea. You're awesome. So, or perhaps, hold on a second. Or perhaps in ancient times, the parasitic infection was the impetus for the development of the healing magic and the blood rituals, blood sacrifice rituals. Well, now we're getting into like ancient world building, and you're hurting my brain, and I'm liking it. So I do like that. King Eric, the acolytes of the frog gods wear giant frog skins as clothes. That's just really,
I love this idea
I,
of having again like frog people, and like it could just simply be that like they left these kinds of like strange frog creatures to defend the monument. um
that would actually be really be really cool. But I'm thinking like if you have mosaics like all along the passageways
yeah.
of this thing of these people who are humans who are like covered in frogs, then you have no idea whether or not like these are just abominations that got left here, or did the people become the frog things, and it just adds to more freak people out.
Hmm.
The parasite is also slowly turning people into
I
plant people.
love that. I love the idea that the parasite is like it could just be that like
Maybe it just
that's
turns them into
the
the
visual
plant.
effects. Yeah. And the plant is what's healing.
Yep.
I love that. Okay, yeah, great idea, King Eric.
And BGD said the
Let's
ancients kept themselves alive and safe against the parasites by making medicine and transfusing fresh blood. Now we got two parallel concepts going on here.
yeah, we do.
I kind of like the
I
idea that the parasite turns the people into the plant.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that we go down that path here. Effects,
But
slowly turns.
for
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
other another adventure, I'm down with BGD's. Yeah, like we need fresh blood to keep ourselves from dying. Wahaha. Like we'll go vampire.
So, sure. And I mean, if there's an opportunity, I think, in some way, shape, or form to tie that in to the to what we're working on now, I think we could, right? We're not trying to shut ideas down. We're
Not
trying
at
to
all.
find ways to piece as many of these together as possible. Slowly turns the living into plants.
Plants. I would say the plants that do the healing.
Oh
So
yes, of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
yeah. The plants,
But I'm kind of
it's
liking
plants
BGD's thing
that
for
do
another
the
adventure
healing.
because then we could do like vampires.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, well, scientific dirtbag versions of vampires, not like
Sure. I mean, it could.
no
There's no reason why
sparkly.
you couldn't do dirtbag vampires.
Annabelle, vampire plants.
Vampire plants. Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh. Now I'm terrified. We're going to go Day of the
Um,
Triffids. Awesome. I love it. Okay. So, all right, we have a lot.
yeah, we've got so many ideas here. Known for blood sacrifices, healing magic based on rare swamp flora. It's rare because it requires a literal human sacrifice to be turned into that plant.
Yes, and it
Um,
needs the parasite that only grows on this planet.
yeah.
So,
Um,
I like vampire plants.
so what would this monument look like? I want to start thinking about like not just what it
Oh,
looks like, but like what form does this monument take? Um, and how was it designed by this culture to lure or how was it how was it purposed to
yeah.
for these kinds of weird ritualistic purposes?
Interesting. Very good. Anybody got any
What
ideas
kinds
in
what kinds of
chat?
rooms would this dungeon have?
Well,
Um,
going with that, how long is a typical crawl would you say that you've run for Dirtbag so far? Like, how many rooms are we looking at?
That's a great question. I mean, probably no more than 15 if I had to guess. I would say I mean you could have, as many as you like, and I
Okay.
don't think that there's any hard limit on the kinds of dungeons that you can create or play for dirtbags. But if we're trying to create a one shot, I imagine this is something that you could probably get through in say the span of 3 hours. So maybe around 10 to 12 rooms.
Okay, so we'll do 12, like 10 to 12 rooms. Sounds good to me. BGD says ziggurat, which is
Yeah,
who doesn't
exactly.
like a good ziggurat? I mean, really, it's almost required. So
It's the ziggurat of the frog gods.
ziggurat of
Isn't
the
there
frog
a
gods.
isn't there isn't there a Goodman Games frog gods
Oh,
like ziggurat adventure for DCC? I'm sure
do
there is.
they?
I have no
I'm
idea.
sure they have a ziggurat. Well, they have a ziggurat in sail. Don't they have a ziggurat in the sailors in the Starless Sea at the end?
Probably.
Um, be fun. Okay, so
Cool.
ziggurat in the
And if it's
swamp.
underwater, let's not forget the other theme that we had.
Well, here's the
Um,
thing. I like the
how do we?
idea of like it descends into the water.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's kind of like the reverse ziggurat. Maybe it gets. Do we want to have multiple levels? Where it's kind of like an underground pyramid.
Well, kind of like that. I like that. That's very nice. Do you have it? Interesting. So, do we maybe we have the depth of the water increase for every level they descend?
Oh, I love that. Heck yeah. Cool. So
Okay.
underwater, and then we'll say. So how many levels? Do you want to do 3 levels?
Yeah, let's do 3 levels. We'll go from
Okay.
ankle to knee to hip to like midway up, like your torso.
I love that. So we'll go like ankle. You said knee, and
Knee
then torso,
and then torso, yeah.
or
Something like
okay,
that, yeah.
perfect. Yeah,
Make things feel weird. We can put slimy things in the water.
yeah. Leeches, to cleanse your blood and all sorts of really weird
Yep.
stuff.
Now BGD is a very good designer, and for a one shot, 12 to 15 rooms is great. 4 to 5 empty and atmospheric. 4 to 5 full of puzzles with hidden treasures, and 5 to 3 role play or combat encounters, which is pretty much perfect. Although I just
Yeah.
want traps everywhere and everybody to die.
it's
I really am not an I'm not an antagonistic GM. It's just sometimes it's fun to make
it just
villains.
happens.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to give the audience what they want.
You know what? At my tables, I have killed exactly one player's character. It just so
Oh, that's
happens
not
that
bad.
like every game we play, it's always that player's character. And in Dragonbane, he's now on his third.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's fun. So, for me, not really. Yay. Spore quicksand room. Oh, Annabelle, please, 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 please inform me. What does a spore quicksand room look like? I
I don't know,
like
but it's
this
on there.
name and I would like it fleshed out. I would think that would be great. No, I'm not doing pot. Oh no, Eric, that's I'm freaking out, which is good. Heap of organic fertilizer has to be around too. So
Oh yeah.
there's bat things flying around this, and they're guanos over everything.
I love the idea of plant people coming to life.
I know I'm
It
freaked
could
out
be
by that. I almost feel like pod people no, but yeah, I kind of have to be. It kind of has to be there.
plant like plant pod, like birthing room type
Yes.
thing.
Ew.
Yeah, that's horrendous.
Oh my gosh.
I love that we're going up against plant people.
Plant things that look like frogs. It's a thing. It's very good. Oh, okay. Okay, here we go. So Annabelle, really good idea. Do like the piles of treasure at the start of Aladdin. So in the first couple of rooms, so we started with the bone ossuary that's just supposed to freak people out. So there's empty atmospheric, right?
Yeah,
And I guess do we have more than one exit from the first room, or do we just let them go through the door to the next room?
I'm not sure. I think. Oh, you mean from the ossuary?
Yeah, from the
Um,
ossuary.
uh, I'm not sure. I don't think. I'm not sure if we have to type. We have to create paths just yet. I think.
Okay, so
Presumably, we can just go right straight from the ossuary to kind of set the tone, right?
yep.
And then I think we could probably just go either like straight to like Annabelle suggests, this sort
Yeah,
of treasure room, a la Aladdin.
yep. And
I think
if you take something bad happens. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
And BGD had a great idea for the water. Instead of my idea of having it increase as you go down, is you could have that on a timer, on a round by round basis, forcing the adventurers to
We
keep
talked
climbing.
about something that the guys don't know, right? And I
Yeah,
think that having the timer, I think would actually be more effective,
which would
right?
also mean we're going up because you're going towards the apex. So you're not necessarily inverted, but the water starts going, and you have to run to get up, which also means that you cannot take a lot of rests. We're awesome.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, because if the water's coming up,
Right. You
then it
constantly
has to be
have
inverted.
to get up
Be
in
going
order.
to the higher floor.
So
Um,
maybe you only get like 3 rounds in order to get to the next floor.
yeah. It could be though that like that's the clock you need to get out. Like once you reach the final room, you pull the stone. You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
swap out the skull. You know, like you would in uh,
Yeah.
what is it?
Indiana Jones.
The Indiana
Yeah.
Jones, and then suddenly the water starts to fill. But I like this idea of the water just filling over time, and then it's a race against time to
So
get
you
to the
maybe you
top.
go in through the ossuary and the door slams shut and the water starts coming up.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
And it doesn't even have to start going up right away. It probably starts going up as soon as you take one of the treasures, right?
Well, yeah, but then
So,
you're in a problem because if they don't take the treasure, then the water doesn't rise, and then you don't lose your timer.
but what if the only way forward is to touch the treasure? So touching the treasure starts the water, but it
We'll
opens
give
the
you the
door to the next room.
illusion of not doing the stupid thing. That's
Yeah,
always
exactly.
fun. Always good to have two optional exits once the party passes the gateway to the dungeon. It builds some Jacques style recursion and gives the PCs an option to fail forward if they get stuck. That is always a good idea. And I need to make that bigger so that your thing comes in. We could do an optional exit, but I like the idea of the door slamming shut behind them and then having optional exits from that point.
Yeah, I agree.
I like the idea of being trapped and then Jacqueing it from there.
Yep. Door slams shut upon entering. Love it.
All right. So
Now we got ourselves a treasure
so
room
here's the
here.
cool thing. Like, how about you give
Yeah.
them the illusion of choice?
Yes.
So either, no matter what you're doing, the water's got to rise because that activates the timer and that creates the thing. But we can let people figure out what way they want to activate the thing that kills them. So you can have something about taking the treasure and putting it on the door to move forward, or then you have another path that goes in, and there's another way to unlock that door to go forward. Both of them activate the water trap
Correct.
because the
Yeah,
water
I think
trap
that
is central to getting people infected and turning them into plants. Um, I
I
like
love it.
I kind of like that idea. So I don't
Yeah.
know what the other way forward to unlock it would be, but we have a chat for that, and BGD is here. And he has multiple ideas because you're
I mean,
constantly making adventures.
I'm blown away at the incredible ideas coming out here.
Oh, you got to meet him.
This is
Have
insane.
you're on my Discord, right?
I am, yeah,
Because
of course.
BGD's on. You got to you he amazing.
I'm sure we'll get an opportunity to chat. I mean, we're chatting now.
Brains, yes, brains
So
upon
remind me
brains.
again, the first way we said taking a treasure and maybe placing it
So
somewhere.
it's
Like this is some
I
sort of
think you have
objective.
an it's in so you have the kind of like the foyer, right? And then you have
Yep.
the actual entryway. So the door
Yep.
shuts behind you, and now you have two doors that are there, and
Oh, I see. So there are
so
two
you
doors
have
in the
two
main
ways
in
of
the
moving
ossuary.
forward. Yeah.
Okay. Now is the treasure in the ossuary? Like in the first room? No, it's beyond that,
No, I
right?
think
Like
I
I
think there's two ways to open the doors. I think one of them's like got like a you could have it like has scales that have to get balanced, and there's coins, and then you have another door uh and the scales can literally be hanging off the door. Be like, if I know players are going to be incredibly dumb and try to figure out everything but the obvious solution, but if you hang the scales on the door, be like, hey, maybe if I balance it, it will open up. Um, but who knows? And then on the other door, it would be something else in the room. Could be an obvious entryway to access that. So you have your choice of poison, which direction you want to go. But either of them, when you start, it activates the water trap, and BGD again thinks outside the box. Um, struck. I need to let me shrink this down a little bit. Height, so he gets more space, and his comments can be seen. There we go. Have 4 levels to the structure. Every round, the water level increases by a quarter level, which is nice. At the end of round 16, the PCs have either stopped the flooding by some means or are holding their breath. So they get 16 rounds to get through this thing.
Oh no.
I mean, you want to do it over 3 hours, so maybe you can make that a little less, but you also want to make it. How about I like what BGD's going for there because you're giving it an actual timer.
Mhm.
Um, so okay, yeah, BGD says only have one of the two doorways be gated by a puzzle. Oh, that would be fun because people can think that the really easy path is the one that's locked by the puzzle, and that's actually the harder one. Yeah, that would just be mean. Let's do that.
That's very funny.
Um,
So let's take a step back.
yeah,
If we're adding doors,
yes,
right? We enter the ossuary, and
doors.
then the door slams behind us.
Yes,
Is there a treasure room
yes.
or not yet?
So you're in
There.
a treasure room, right?
Oh, so the ossuary is the treasure
No,
room.
no, no. You move through the ossuary into the
Okay,
treasure room.
perfect. Into
Door
the treasure room, and then in the treasure
slams
room
shut
there are
behind
two
you.
doors.
Right.
Oh, I assume that the door slammed shut in the ossuary.
No, see to me it would be like you go into the ossuary and it's there and it's supposed to freak you out. And I think maybe back in ancient times people just like they
Sure.
were there to freak you out because that was one of the way they were beginning to whittle you away to get infected by this stuff. And
Mhm.
then you would get shoved into the treasure room and the doors would just slam shut.
Got you. Okay, perfect.
But I think then you have two doors in the treasure room. One of them is a puzzle door opening, right? And the other one, I think BGD does a good point. Just have it be an open, like a door that you just open. And both of them activate the water trap, make the puzzle trap path or the puzzle path harder, and make the other path easier. So
Okay, we'll say one door has a puzzle while the other does not. Harder of the paths uh,
oh, the puzzle
is
door.
beyond the puzzle door. That's just evil.
Yeah, that puzzle door's got to have the really good stuff. Uh-huh. What it's doing, it's trying to weed out the people who are most likely to be turned into the plants.
Oh, right.
So they're taking the harder path and they're just more likely to get whittled down. So it's like drawing you together. Maybe this is my way out. It's reverse psychologying them, which is fun.
And what kind of treasure are we talking here? Is this ancient treasure?
I would say there's
Is
probably like
this
ancient.
technological treasure? Like, is this kind of like one of those like Prometheus things where you arrive into a room and there's a giant telescope?
No, I actually think it's literally a treasure room. I like what Annabelle had put out with it's just like the almost like Aladdin. But I think it's like what I do like is the idea of having scales on the door, like protruding off of the door, and having to find two pieces of treasure that balance it to unlock it.
Oh, so that's what you meant by scale. I was like,
Yeah,
what kind of scale is he talking about?
like
Like,
a balance scale.
yeah, balance. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. So there's a scale on one of the doors.
and
Need to find two pieces of magic treasure.
BGD said I was a spot on 100%. I had to highlight that chat. That just made me happy. Okay, so now we're talking the water. You go through the door and the water is activated. So now you got to work on timing. So I'm not sure I like the idea of just giving 16 rounds to get through because, I mean, how many rounds can you get through in an hour in Dirtbags? Because it's a really fast paced game, right?
It's super fast paced. Yeah, I would say I would especially because it's supposed to be relatively cinematic
Mm-hmm.
and narratively driven. I would say that perhaps there are things that like I still think that the player should be punished for taking too long.
Yeah,
Um, but I think like as far as clocks are concerned, I think that like every time they say again, like I think every time they take a breather, every time they exert themselves, like that's like we don't have to use say necessarily this disease
right.
as
Okay.
we don't have to use this disease like the way that it's written now, but
Right,
we
right, right.
could use the clock mechanic. So every time that you take an out of combat, sorry, anytime you take a breather, whether it's in combat or out of combat,
Water rises.
or anytime you exert yourself, water rises. And so, um,
So it can rise really fast if a bunch of characters have to
yeah,
exert themselves to succeed at a task.
precisely. And I think that narratively, the way that the GM would paint that is simply that, like, it's not like you're exerting yourself, therefore water's rising. It's just
Right.
like you're exerting yourself and you're not being careful of how much time is passing,
I like
right?
that
Like,
idea. Very,
so it
very
kind of
good.
ties, at least it ties it into some of the kind of the core dirtbag mechanics.
So how many triggers per floor?
That's a great question. We
So if
could
we're
have it.
doing like
It could be.
12
It could be rolled.
rooms,
It could be. Um,
or do we
Kind of depends.
and do we accelerate it? So if we're doing there's 12 rooms, right?
Yeah.
Basically, what
Let's
we're
say
talking about.
let's say that there are 12.
So
Let's
you get
let's.
let's do 5 rooms on the first floor.
Okay. It's like 5, 4, and 3. Is that 12? My bad.
Five,
No, that's 11.
4. Well, you go 5 rooms on the first, 4 rooms on the second. You get to 9, right? And then we got 3 more,
Yeah,
2 on the
3. So
third, and 1 on the
5,
fourth.
5, 4, 3. Oh,
Four.
we're doing
Let's do four floors.
4 floors. Okay, perfect.
So five, four,
So 4 floors.
5, 4, 2, 1, 5, 4, 9,
5, 4, 2,
yeah,
1 could work.
5, 4, 2,
We
1.
could, yeah, we could do 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then just however many other rooms that is, that's what we end up with. Like
That's
if we
fine
want
too. I
to,
don't care.
yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2. Sure. And the one could be where they automatically get infected. I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I made it. I made a adventure for ICRPG where basically like when you got off the thing that basically the ship wouldn't let you back on because you were all going to be infected. It was fun. It was a one shot. Everybody was dead as soon as they went in. Sci-fi horror. Um.
Amazing.
So yeah, I like that.
Cool.
So good. So the first so we've already got two rooms set up
We
for
got we
the
got
the
two
first
rooms.
room, and then two branching rooms from that. So there's four, and then those two branching rooms can come back to the the room that gets them up to the next level.
Sure. So yeah, so we got the ossuary, which leads into the treasure room. We had a plant pod birthing room. I'm not sure if we want to have that on the first floor or not. Feels kind of like a second story room, but we may not get there tonight. And I want to make sure that we're trying to use as many of the ideas as the folks in the
Well, it would be kind of interesting is they could pass through it and they don't do anything, and then maybe they start hunting them.
yeah, exactly. Like you just don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm down.
hunting's
Let's
always
let's
fun.
put it in there.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't love being hunted? I mean,
It
God bless
could
hunt.
be that like it's the last room you get to perhaps before like going up to the next floor.
That's always fun.
So it's almost like there's a room on. I'm just trying to lay this out in
Yeah,
a
yeah,
way
yeah.
that
I'm trying to figure it out too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So now we can just go like this. So like you got, if we're just using cardinal directions here, right? We start
Yep.
the ossuary, we head south into the treasure room, and then maybe it looks like there are maybe like three. Well, yeah. So then there's a door to the east, a door to the west, and then both of those uh, rooms would lead to the plant birthing room.
Now, here's an interesting thing. So that plant birthing room, because we did say we wanted to have one of the paths be harder.
Mm-hmm.
So can we split the plant birthing room in half?
Yes, absolutely.
So they kind of with the stairs can go up, kind of in parallel in the middle. So but there's a wall between them, and maybe it's where you can put like a secret door So if people want to cross between the two paths as they go up and they think about looking for it, they can figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, and this is BGD put. If you put the ziggurat 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rooms, you could make it so the boss fight chamber at the apex never floods, but there's no escape except to win, and your
I love
survival
that.
through a secret exit. Yeah, that's always a fun time. Who doesn't like? Hey, we got to the end. Oh no, we're dead. Fun, good time. It is a sci-fi. It's sci-fi action shooter, so there does need to be a boss fight.
100%. Can't escape, except for killing the boss. And maybe we offer an escape in room in the on the second last floor.
Okay,
You know,
cool.
possible escape without confronting the boss.
But we have to give them an incentive to go to the boss.
100%. 100%. And I think that if, for instance, the boss is the only one who has, say, the cure to the disease,
But to say
then
by
if
that
they
point they're infected and they have the boss is the cure. So
correct, yeah. So
that would be
I think
fun.
so if they play it super safe and they don't get infected, then they can escape by the second floor if they manage to do it all right. If they are infected, then maybe they find out that the boss is in the last room, that the cure is likely there, and that they've got to head in that direction.
I kind of like this idea.
I think it's for what I mean for being like 45 to 55 minutes in. I think that's going to be the one we go with.
Yes, we're terrible. So
I'm just going to write down boss is the cure.
I like that idea. The boss is the cure.
The boss is the
A
cure.
giant plant frog thing with much slime, and that's the cure.
Giant plant boss. Yeah, love it. So, what are the rooms that the treasure room leads to?
So we have Spore Quicksand Room, which I just think is a cool idea, and I still want to find out what a Spore Quicksand Room does. I also want that to be the harder of the two rooms.
Okay, so we'll make that the harder one is beyond the locked door.
Yes.
Cool. So I'm just gonna say that this is locked.
Very nice.
Oh God, I'm trying to.
Are you trying to write with the mouse?
Yeah, assignment my mouse is a trackpad on this
Oh,
tiny Mac.
no.
Oh God.
This is where having an Apple Pencil really helps. Like I can just
Oh, I
write.
bet. Okay, there, it's locked.
It's not
I
even
should just.
appearing on the screen right now.
Oh no.
That's okay. You're good.
Oh, that's awful.
You can
Okay,
see
well,
it. That's all that matters.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
so that's the locked door. I wish you could. No, it would be kind of cool if you could just throw icons on these boxes, which is cool. Oh,
Um,
yes, 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 yes.
let's see on that tongue.
That's a BGD point out. Now, this is notes for the future. On the top 2 to 3 floors, there should probably be at least a couple medicinal treats for the adventurers to
Sure.
slow down the infection in those affected along the way, afflicted along the way. That would be pretty good. I like that idea. Okay. So Sport Quicksand Room. What does the other room do? Simple trap, simple thing.
I was always thinking about a land treasure room as the spore quicksand, where you reach for some item and then. Oh wow! Okay,
And
yeah.
fall through the stand. That's always interesting too. I'm thinking like what's the Brandon Sanderson novel, Tess in the Emerald Sea, where the sea are spores?
I'm not sure.
Annabelle's nailed it. So in the harder one, maybe we add some hallucinating effects so the spores and dangerous creatures are hiding in wait.
Love it.
So it's maybe not necessarily quicksand, but it's spores that you have to
It's just
move.
spore.
It's spores that you have to move through almost like water, and it throws out stuff that you breathe in. You hallucinate a little bit, and there's predators in the the spores that make finding, attacking, and defeating much harder. I kind of like that.
Cool. Um,
So that's pretty cool. All right. So the other one, what do we have the other way? We want a
so let's think
yeah.
about this. I mean, if we could kind of we can almost treat the first floor as
Mm-hmm.
like a 5-room dungeon,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we have a puzzle. So we have the entrance, right?
Yep. We got a
Um,
puzzle.
and technically, we've got the guardian, like the yeah. So the entrance, we've got the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, we need a we've got a trap technically,
Mm-hmm.
with the spore room.
Yep.
Um, we've got combat.
We
No, I don't
do.
think we have combat. I
We
mean,
do
we
combat
typically
because
have like a
there's going to be predators in the
the
spore room.
plant. Oh yes, that's right. But
Yep.
see, we're kind of combining those together, right? The spore room, I feel like if we could absolutely combine those two. I'm just thinking that then what do we do with the other room?
Well, here's the thing: is that remember the other room is a little bit easier. So you're
Oh,
trying
right.
because the intention is to because people are always like, well, that's the trap, that's the room that's trapped, so that's going to be the better path to take. And we're just flipping the script, and the whole way people are moving through it, every time they take the harder path, things get screwy.
So what's in the easy room?
Well,
Like, what would
maybe
be a benefit?
maybe
Yeah.
it's literally just like a room with a diorama on it that depicts maybe the boss at the top
Oh,
of
I
the
love
ziggurat.
that. Just give a little, giving a little like telegraphing,
Yeah,
some of the boss's, moves or something like that, or
right. And that'll then actually because it'll look like a peaceful place, it'll incentivize people to try to take a breather there, and then we can demonstrate that the water is really rising,
yeah.
which is cool. So
Excellent,
just
excellent
make it a
idea.
nice peaceful place that they're gonna want
And
to
what do
chill
we?
out
And what
in.
did you want it to? You wanted the boss monster to be telegraphed how?
A
Like, is it like
dire
a painting,
like a
diorama?
mosaic or a diorama that's all like printed over the entire thing.
How do we spell diorama? There we go. Diorama. I was about to spell the other word that spells start with dia, but I
There is
don't
a
think
bug
that's
going around that triggers that.
yeah, that's true.
Um,
The diarrhea room. No, let's not do that. Um, so the diorama room telegraphs, some important information related to the boss.
yeah,
I love that.
or just shows what it is. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the plant pod birthing room. Here's what I think I would do. I like the idea um, at the end of the level is giving the characters a choice between crossing over to the other side or staying on the path that they're on.
Okay.
Because if the water's rising, it's not like they're going to go, let's walk over to this other side and see what's going over there all the time. Because by that point, the water could be like up to their shoulders and they got to make
Sure.
a choice. So they can open the door and they can see that the stairs go up on either side of the wall or maybe on the opposite side of the room. So
Okay.
there's two stairwells that's opening up.
I like the idea of having two staircases going up, and
Yeah,
maybe they
and
lead to
one of
different
them
rooms.
goes to the easy path and one of them goes to the hard path. And it can always there can always be an incentive to like drive them to the harder path.
Sure. I like that a lot. Yeah, two staircases leading to the second floor.
So they get a choice, but who knows what that choice is going to be.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll call it like an easy and a hard path.
And BGD point out the fifth room on the ground floor, resolution, revelation, or twist could be the ancient tech or information that aids the adventurers into ascending more quickly to one of the higher levels. That would also be pretty good. BGD, what do you think of the idea of giving
Well,
the players a choice?
we're kind of missing the reward. I mean, yeah. So like, I see the like, is the diorama room the reward in this case?
The diorama room could be an award, especially if it is actually giving information on how to defeat the thing.
Yeah, like because I think that
But I
that's what
don't
because
know,
we're
like,
technically missing two,
I mean,
right?
we're going
It's
kind of Zelda with that. Like, I don't know why you would have the information on how to defeat the thing. I think it would be more presented just to terrify people. But maybe
right.
because they have their big weapons, they'd be like, "Oh, we can kill that." Um, so there could be a thing in the plant birthing room, but I actually like the plant pod birthing room being the twist too. So
Yeah,
you because
I
you had
like
the two.
it should be the twist because I think that that's when the players realize that these pods are birthing, plant people.
Right, and the water's rising, and maybe they burst when the water gets up over the
Oh, I
pods.
love that. The pod, and so maybe pods will burst um, when the water gets to a certain level.
Yeah,
Um, and more importantly, like they don't have to like you don't have to be in the room when they burst. Like
correct.
if you
They're
take
going to
way
come.
too long elsewhere, and the water rises, then
They're
they'll have
hunting.
already burst when you show up,
Yeah,
right?
they're hunting.
Exactly.
So you have two twists there. You have the idea of a choice that you can go up two separate sets of stairs, and then you have the pods that are there.
Yeah. And then I suspect that when you go to the second floor and the water reaches that certain reaches that level, presumably I'm just going to should we assume then that the water immediately floods the floor that you were previously on, like narratively,
Yeah.
like so that okay,
Hmm. And
so
be
you can't go back down.
I like the idea that you can't go back down. I think
Yeah,
just basically because because the timing's all narrative, right? So as soon
correct.
as you like by the time they're getting to the stairs, just have the water be up to their shoulders and be like, you have to make a choice. Where are you
Yeah.
going? Or even up to their hips, and where are you going? It's going to
Again,
go quick.
maybe that the stairs are long and winding. Like
Sure.
spiral staircases. Like it takes a while. Uh,
Yeah. It may
Water is seeping through the cracks in the wall.
and
Who
they see,
knows?
make sure they see the pods when they're in the room, right? And as they're going up and just about to clear into the thing, they can hear splashing in the water below. Yay!
I love that.
And BGD wanted by I like the choice for the players, and I think it could be combined with a telegraphed information of foreshadowing hints as to how to best the big boss that will only become clear later in the crawl. I do
Yeah.
like that.
I do like. I
Um,
think it's silly, but having that information and like, especially because I think that like it's information that they'll have no idea what it's about until like the time comes.
yeah,
Like
yeah, which is very good.
for the secret. Oh, is there? There's a secret entrance. Maybe we can consider an entrance puzzle on the ceiling.
That can only be reached within a flooded
I love
dungeon.
that. So maybe there are two
Ooh.
entrances or two exits, I guess, of in
Let's
the plant birthing room.
let's not do
One
that
of them
there.
is
Let's
secret.
do that on the next level.
Okay.
So because I like the idea of the next level, and that's and actually if we really want to be bad, that could be the worst way to go. Um
Yeah. You're awful.
I really am terrible, but this is kind of
This
fun.
is a two, this is really got tumor horror written all over it.
I did. It's like
the,
that, but I like
the
the idea
ziggurat
of
of
that
horror.
you're constantly going like the harder place is obviously the best place to go. That's going to have the best stuff, and just have it be the most awful way to go. And I hate that's all into the psychology. There's something about for pushing the players and having them whittled down that makes them susceptible to the infection, which is why they want it like that natural inclination for people to survive actually puts them
Yeah.
at their own makes them their own worst enemies as they go through, which I like it. But Annabelle, I love the idea of when you
Being
go
able to
in
access it only through a flooded
when
room
you go
is awesome.
into the space, you can see the trapdoor up there. So it's not necessarily secret, but it's so high up. The only way the only way you can get in there is to swim, which puts in.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the things you have to wait until the thing floods, which we can hand wave that because of narrative. But the plant pods are now swimming around and they're coming up with the water as the water goes up. and then you got to hold your breath, and maybe you're fighting those things off, and after you get through, and then maybe that's the worst trap in the next level.
Oh my god.
I'm not a nice person.
No,
I'm not
no.
an adversarial
I think
GM.
we
You're
have
giving
to
me
give the
permission to
players.
be mean.
I think we
So,
have to give the players a break, a little tiny break.
I mean, you go ahead. I mean, if they make maybe if they make the trapdoor, it's just they get a breather. They end up in
Yeah,
like a
could
couch
be.
room. Who knows? But
Um,
you're giving me the permission to be mean, and
that's true.
it
Yeah.
is kind of fun. I mean, other people can tone it down.
I want to know a little more about this boss and the kinds of information we could share in the diorama room. What do people think that? I mean, I just they don't. I'm not saying that we have to come up with the whole big baddie right now, but I mean, just an inkling, an idea of like what are we working towards? Because I want to try to bring us back a little bit to some of the
Yeah.
things we said earlier around
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
let's take a step back. We've got 5 groups. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
How does this tie into say blood sacrifices and all the other
Yeah.
kind of really cool things and the healing plants and all the things we've mentioned before?
Uh huh. Uh huh. So, I mean, my thing going forward is that this whole thing was designed to stress people out to make them susceptible to the parasitic disease.
Okay.
So that's the stress. Like the whole thing's designed to stress you out to the point where you lose its wits, not wits. What's your cunning?
Nerves.
Nerves, nerve. I used every word but the one you use in the game.
Wits, cunning.
Um, so it's the whole game is their whole thing is designed to like whittle down people's nerves to where they
Okay.
become susceptible to the disease.
So let's write that down.
Ooh.
So the point of the monument is to whittle down people's nerves
Yes,
so they are susceptible
to the disease. Yeah.
to the disease. I cannot
Now we
spell
have
right
to
now.
figure out a mechanic for that, but I like that idea. And then BGD points out that a good environmental challenge is this particular scenario is lighting
Oh yes.
because well, I mean, we're not in, this is like a sci-fi shooter, so I guess we do have like more like technical lights. We're not carrying around torches. We don't have to worry about them getting flooded out. That would be
You might not
better.
have a flashlight. I'll tell you that much. Like if you've got a flashlight and batteries, like that's great. But if you don't, oh hey
Hey,
Tanner, how's it going?
Tanner's here. Jordan, you have to. By the way, you have to meet Jordan. Elder Goblin
Sure.
Games. He's awesome. He wants to know
Oh
if
heck
it's
yeah.
lunchtime over here. No, it's not lunchtime over there.
No.
This is
We
skipping
are
lunch after dark.
yeah skipping
Um,
lunch.
just the title of the show. Leave me alone. And Tanner's here. Hi, Tanner. How you doing, man? It might be Tanner. What time is it over in Japan? It might
Oh,
be
it's
like
got to be like 10 a.m. or something like that.
yeah, it's getting near
11,
lunchtime. So
11.
ha.
Yeah, it's gonna be
So
someone's lunchtime.
it's lunchtime somewhere. Yeah, so I like all those ideas. We have to figure out what's going on there. Wow, this is a great chat tonight. Good to have everybody here.
I
And
love the engagement. It's been fantastic.
yeah, and Annabelle, your ideas are awesome. So thank you because I don't, and I'm pointing you out specifically because I have not chatted with you before, and I just think this is awesome to have somebody new that has really cool ideas. It's 11:20 a.m., so it's basically lunchtime. So yes, it's lunchtime over there, Jordan. Um, I don't know where that came from. I don't care. Okay, I'm starting to get punch drunk. Um, so we have that. I think that's pretty good. We've gotten up to the second level. We know we want to have an optional exit in the second level that you can only get
Yep.
to through a flooded room. And then we know that what the purpose of this whole thing is to whittle people down to the point where they susceptible to this parasitic disease, right? Um,
I love it. I think
I
it's a phenomenal.
I think we've got that's a really a lot. So I'm good with
It's I
that.
mean it's gonna be yeah, I agree. I think that like already we have so much to try to flesh out on the next stream, try to and to add to. Um so but it's an awesome start and I cannot wait to start thinking about what this culture is kind of like to flesh out the culture a bit and to find out more about these plant people. We should be saying too much though. I don't want to give Paladin a head start
Well,
He's
I mean, he's got to see the whiteboard, so we'll have to see what's going on. So you're on. Who are you on with next?
I think it's going to be actually it's going to be Tanner. Yeah, so Tanner from Paladin Pros, and we're not going to have to wait long. We're going live on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
So that's coming up real soon, and then after that, so we're gonna kind of it's almost like a relay stream, right? We got to
Yeah.
pass on the torch,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
then
Yep.
from there, we'll work with Tanner and his audience, and hopefully some of your audience will be able to join us there and carry
Sure.
on the work that we've done tonight. So join us on Paladin Pros' YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there, we go over to Hex Press with Todd on the 16th, which I will double check. I think it's also a Saturday. Maybe it's a Sunday. Yeah, it's a Sunday, to kind of wrap up the adventure. Now, we might not be completely fleshed out, but between now and then, I think we'll have to get some work done. And make
Yes.
sure that we've got something that's ready for folks to consume as as a digital stretch goal, I guess, at the end of the campaign. And I was just telling Tanner today that we are well on our way to unlocking the Marche Noir digital zine issue number 1 as a stretch goal, and I would love to take this and take this adventure, take this one shot, and stick it in there as well, if it makes sense.
Yes. I mean, that would be a ton of fun. I think that would be really cool. I would be very excited to actually see that happen. So, all right. So,
Yeah.
what stretch goals have you announced for this already? Like, what have you reached so far?
So we got a couple. So the first one, kind of some low hanging fruit. We want to make sure that we had some a color interior. Now, I say color interior, I don't mean say like all of the illustrations will be in color, but the defacing. Like that's the
Yeah. Yeah.
part I
Yeah.
think is going to be that's going to make the whole book pop. So that's the first one that we got. And then the second stretch goal that we unlocked is for a physical add-on. So it's something that
Okay.
backers can purchase or add as an add-on, and they are physical character cards. So they're going to be pre-generated cards
Oh, nice.
that we get access to, and they're actually Hellraisers. This idea that there's a Hellraiser reward tier, and backers can actually get their dirtbags commissioned,
Nice.
illustrated by Francesco Lobo, the artist for dirtbags, and then those cards will be made. So they'll be available digitally to everyone,
Okay.
but the physical cards will be available for purchase as well.
Oh,
And now we're
sweet.
working towards the Marche Noir digital zine, where we're going to add, a bunch of supplemental content, maybe a new role, auxiliary tables, energy weapons, and stuff like that.
That's really awesome. It's this. It's a couple. BGD said Dirtbags looks like such fun and an interesting system. It really is. It is minimalist to the core with resource management
Yeah, yeah,
because
I think it's a great way of putting it.
you have to manage your actions, otherwise you just go down. I mean, it's really really cool, and the fact that your attribute pools or your ability scores are your action pools, and that's where you take your kits. It's just really, I mean, there's a deep strategy to it, but it just feels like it's lightning fast. So very very good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's and you say it perfectly. That I think that was a lot of what I tried to achieve in Dirtbags. You just captured, so that's great.
Yeah.
I
I
want
can
to just
read.
say thank you.
So
Yeah, I want to say thank you to the audience here. I mean, I think you're the folks you've got here with you are incredible, Wes, and so just a huge thank you for this show out and the participation. That means a lot.
mhm.
Where possible, I'd love to kind of give folks credit where credit is due, right? If we do publish this in the Marche Noir, I'll try to mention as many of the folks here that participated as possible. And I will just quickly say that there's also, a free quick start guide, on the Kickstarter channel, right? So don't
Mhm.
feel like you have to spend your hard-earned dollars, to play Dirtbags. There are some free pre-gens available as well, and there's a starter adventure, and so. there's also a kind of an open third-party license, so anybody can go and create content for Dirtbags and commercialize it, no cost, no royalties, no nothing. I want to make sure that that Dirtbags is as open as possible for folks to enjoy. So, feel free to check that out too, guys. Don't and girls, don't feel like you have to back the project if it's
Hmm.
something that you can't afford or maybe doesn't interest you as much. So check it out.
And I do have the link to the Kickstarter in the description below. I should have had a thing to put it up on a pop up. But please go. You got just over 20 days to support it. They've made some stretch goals. You blew through your actual goal in day one, which was really really fun to see.
Thank you.
And you're not racking up tons of money on this, but it's a passion project, and you're putting together a really good product, and I think people are really going to like this. And as BGD says, we really want to support generous indie game creators like yourself, and of course we
Yeah,
do.
thank you.
And also,
Yeah,
and really,
that means a lot.
Jean-Luc, get on my Discord and say hello to these folks because they're all basically everybody's there,
That's awesome.
and
I will.
they're really
That's
good folks.
100%.
And there's some good folks to collaborate with. They've helped me a whole lot, and they might have some opportunities for you to run your system for people, which is always
Yeah.
fun.
On that note, I will say that I will be running a couple creator games at the end of the
Nice.
month.
Okay.
So that means that I will be personally GMing, a few select folks through an adventure of Dirtbags through a one shot. Maybe this one shot, who knows? If we're done on time, um, and so yeah, check out the you kind of just if you're following sorry, not the Discord, if you're following the Kickstarter, I'll be posting an update with maybe a sign up form or something like that, kind of one of those first come first serve. But if folks want to check it out, I'd love to have some of your folks join us as well, and hopefully your folks will become my folks, and we'll all just kind of be hanging out, and I think it'll be a ton of fun.
It's all just a fun little community here, and I want to do a shout out for all the folks who've been chat for you because you guys make when I do my live streams, it is a lot of work to set up a live stream and get everything going, get going. You all make it so much fun because all your comments and King Eric, your comments are always insane and I love them all. Um, you're so good and you were so helpful for Jean-Luc, um, who is my guest. So thank you so much for that. And you make the Discord so much fun. And BGD also wants to point out, which is what I was hinting at. Yes. Uh, BGD actually is running an online convention called
Oh,
Crit, which was formerly named something else, and we will not name the formal name or the former name, but it is running at the end of, and I should be running a game in this, so I should know. It's running in the end of June, right, BGD? Um, and it's basically going to be online, round the clock. Set it up for you for whatever every time you want to run, and you set up the game that you were wanting to run with it. And I can
that's
send
amazing.
actually put the link in our Discord because he's there, so he can see it, so that folks can sign up to run
At me,
games on it.
I'm like I'm not shy. You folks can find me on Discord. It's no problem. Just
Absolutely.
at Jean Luc, hit me up. If I'm available, you kidding me? Get an opportunity to run dirt bags at a convention, like this is the stuff I
Oh
uh, I,
yeah.
I, I live for. Like
Tanner's running games at Crit too. I didn't know Tanner. I didn't know you were running a Crit. That's awesome. I haven't even signed up for my game for the games that I want to run. I want to run a Sentinel Comics RPG because that's going to be fun. And Elder Goblins. I'm allegedly on that. So, the joys of running online conventions. So yeah, definitely, Johnny, get in on that. It's going to be a
I
blast,
will.
and this is a game totally designed for it. One of the things we didn't talk about, this is not set up for like gridded combat, right? It's mostly for like a theater of the mind setup or kind of abstract to just like move your guys
That's
around
yeah,
from
that's
angles.
right. Yeah, I mean that's the way that I've been. So I grew up playing gridded combat. Really like that. That was kind of like our bread and butter. But as soon as we kind of moved into sort of the theater of the mind, kind of way to play, I fell in love with it. And so yeah, the game is intended to be narrative. You kind of describe what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you can describe anything you want really, and as long as you've got the actions for it, then you can pull it off. So in that case, I think, yeah, it's kind of like line of sight. You've got three different zones that you're kind of working with.
Uh-huh.
So like close, near, and far. But I don't see any reason why this couldn't be gridded. In fact, I have run it gridded. The play testers ran it gridded as well. So it goes both ways.
Okay, awesome. So it's flexible enough to be used both ways.
Yep.
Very, very cool. You got anything else coming up besides the streams with Tanner and with Todd?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a another live stream. I'm going to be doing a kind of a live demo
Okay.
with a couple of folks over at the BAMF podcast. That's
Nice.
BAMF
It's
podcast.
Nightcrawler's teleportation sound.
Exactly. BAMF podcast. I'm sure there's so much more that I'm forgetting, but um, yeah, we've got the Monster Mondays every Monday, which was like I said, amazing. It's on the Discord channel where I go live on stage and I interact with the chat. I'm trying to get as many folks into the Discord simply because I think it's a great opportunity for folks to meet like-minded people and to kind of harbor this kind of dirtbags community. Folks to find other dirtbag players to meet and play with, and to create third-party content with and share. So that's what I've been doing there.
Awesome.
And outside of those two things, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And the creator games, which I'm really excited for.
Yes, and you're running a Kickstarter,
Yeah,
which I'm
and
not as excited for.
yeah, I have a full-time job. so,
You're not
so it's
busy.
crazy.
You're good.
No.
So all while dodging or unsuccessfully dodging all the dumb bugs that are going around, which is a lot of
I
fun.
know. Like I said, I'm just getting over a cold now. So
All right, folks, and then for me, see the shirt I'm wearing? This is coming up at the end of March, March 28th through 30th in Palmyra, New Jersey. Ecclesiacon.com is where you can get information on it and find the link to go get badges. If you want to come, we've got some awesome games. There's actually 3 vendors that are signed up to run, that's kind of blowing my mind. Or to have tables there, which is kind of blowing my mind. We'll have another couple folks that'll be showing up. There'll be a game auction on Saturday night, and we're raising money for my church's roof loan replacement because we're paying that off. But most of the money, 75% of all the things that are proceeds that are generated, is going to an organization called booksmiles.org. And this is such a cool thing. Their entire mission is to get children's books and keep them from going to landfills, which is where children's books go to die, and give them to children. What a cool concept. So it's this amazing thing. They're you know keeping stuff out of landfills, which is always a good thing, but also just giving this gift of reading to all these kids. And of course, for all of us who like to play TTRPGs, we all have our bookshelves behind us. We love books, and for us to have it, we need people to have imaginations and know how to read and interpret rules and know when to break all the rules. And that's all done through reading. So booksmiles.org for me is just such a neat organization that I get to support. They're real local here to New Jersey. So if you're able to get out here for EcclesiaCon, I would love to have you. And that's what I got going on. Well, next week I'm also interviewing
that's awesome.
Chaosium on
That's
Monday,
awesome.
so that should be fun too.
Let's. I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's chat offline, Wesley. I'd like to see if there's anything I could do to help with that.
Oh, dude, thank you
Even if I
so
can take,
much.
yeah. I think it's the least I could do. So we'll figure something out. We'll take a look at some of the proceeds coming out of dirt bags and see if we can't make something happen for you
You
guys, because that's
keep
super
your
exciting.
dirt bags proceeds. You worked hard on that. Thank you so much.
No,
Yes.
likewise.
Yep.
Yeah, I think yeah, but I think we're yeah. I mean, you've been an amazing second in command. Make it so number one and all that jazz. So
It's
I
awesome.
appreciate you a lot. Thanks again so much for having me on,
No
man.
problem, folks. Uh, Obviously, we're talking a little bit. I'm going to close out for here, and we will talk to you later. But folks, next week, Monday night, 8:30, I will have 2 folks from Chaosium here. We're going to talk about their 50th anniversary, a little bit of history of the channel, and one of the cool things they're doing to celebrate their 50th anniversary this year. That should be a lot of fun. Until we see each other again, folks. Happy playing, everyone.